It's Monday, July 17th, and this is now on HNN. A tropical storm watch is issued for Hawaii Island as Calvin tracks toward the state. A look at the preparations for the possible impacts.
2 people are now in police custody on Maui after a body was found wrapped in plastic earlier this month.
Caught on camera, a close call at a Wahiawa gelato shop. The new video into our newsroom.
In this Republican primary, there is one lane to the nomination, and that lane is right through Donald Trump. He's at the head of it.
New campaign finance numbers show former President Trump raised nearly twice as much as his closest political rival in the GOP presidential primary race so far. I'm Skyler Henry in Washington with the latest ahead of next month's debate.
They seem to be happy and settling in well.
These stories, plus the big cats from the Siegfried and Roy Vegas show, now have a new home. Those details coming up on This Is Now. Aloha and welcome to This Is Now. We are keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm Calvin as Hawaii is still on track to see impacts from the system this week. Now, the latest forecast was released a short time ago, and models show Hawaii Island will likely get the brunt of the storm.
Yeah, in fact, Hawaii Island is under a tropical storm watch right now. Here's the latest forecast. At 11 a.m. today, Tropical Storm Calvin had sustained winds of 50 miles per hour with higher gusts and was situated about 790 miles east of Hilo, tracking westward. Now, tropical storm force winds extend 125 miles from its center. A NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft was dispatched to fly through Calvin this morning to collect more detailed data as the storm approaches the islands. As it nears or even passes over parts of the state, beginning with Hawaii Island, it's expected to bring locally strong wind gusts, torrential rains, high surf, and possibly isolated tornadoes.
Definitely some wild weather on the horizon there, and our team is keeping a very close eye. In fact, our Casey Lunn is heading over to Hawaii Island there right now. And we also know of other people in the community who are preparing. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of that. Now, despite Calvin weakening as it heads our way, Hawaii is certainly still not out of the woods. Officials are urging community members to get prepared. It is still expected to be packing heavy rains, strong winds, and potentially damaging storm surge when we start to see the impacts on Wednesday. Residents should continue to monitor the track and not be complacent about potential danger. After 3 straight below average hurricane years, state officials say we all need to shake out the rust when it comes to emergency preparedness. Some took heed of that warning, stocking up at stores like Costco over the weekend.
So here's a reminder of what every household should have in their 14-day emergency kit. Some items are obvious, like food and water, but don't forget utensils, a battery-powered radio, flashlights, and extra batteries. State officials recommend a solar charger for your phone and a whistle. Also, pack sanitation items like toilet paper, a basic toolkit, and important documents, and some cash, and of course, don't forget your medication. If you have a pet, make sure they have food, and photographs of your family are recommended just in case you get separated.
So we encourage everybody to be prepared ahead of time and not waiting until the last minute. And of course, we don't want anybody hoarding items either. Just really think about your neighbors and friends and others who might need to go to the store and buy supplies.
And all across the island, city and county crews are working to clear storm drains and trim back trees to minimize potential damage and impacts. At this time, be sure to download the Hawaii News Now news and weather apps so you too can keep track of the storm. Simply scan the QR code on the screen and it'll give you a link taking you right where you need to be. Your HNN team will be keeping a close eye on the system online and throughout all of our newscasts.
On Maui, 2 people from Makawao have been arrested for murder in connection to a body found in Kula earlier this month. 59-year-old John Smith and 48-year-old Stacy Smith were taken into custody last week. On July 5th, hunters found the body of 36-year-old Jonathan Awai wrapped in plastic in the Kula Hawaiian Homes area. At this time, we don't know the connection between the suspects and the victim. Maui police say they are working to gather more details without jeopardizing the investigation. John Smith's bail is set at $500,000. Stacy Smith's bail is at $100,000. Anyone with information is being asked to call Maui Crime Stoppers at 808-242-6966.
Take a look at this video from a shop in Wahiawa. A car goes right through the front facade of the Mia Bella Gelato bar on Kilani Avenue. No one inside was seriously hurt. The owner says the store will be closed until further notice. We are still awaiting more details from HPD about this investigation, but again, the good news, no one here was injured.
We have new details of a crash in Waimanalo that left 4 teens in serious condition. It happened around 8:40 last night on Old Kalani Anaole Road in the Norfolk subdivision. It's reported that the vehicle had 4 people inside when it lost control and rolled over on its side. 2 people were able to exit the vehicle while HFD used hydraulic rescue tools to free the others. EMS treated 2 females ages 14 and 16 as well as 2 15-year-old males. All 4 were taken to a hospital in serious condition. No word on what caused the crash.
Loved ones are demanding answers after an inmate at OCCC was found dead in his cell in early July. Danielle Majewski, the victim's former girlfriend and mother of his 2 children, says she spoke to 36-year-old Christopher Vaifaga the week of his death. She says he was hoping to get out of OCCC this year and was planning on moving to Texas to be reunited with his children. HPD said the 36-year-old inmate had been assaulted by 2 other male inmates.
Please do not let nothing slip through the cracks of this investigation for the sake of the girls, because they're not going to have their dad for their birthdays.
Vaifaga was set to go to trial next month on charges of assault and harassment from a March incident. Majewski says she is currently trying to raise money to fly her and his 2 daughters to Oahu for the memorial service.
Only 6 Republican presidential candidates are qualified as of now for the first GOP primary debate next month. Former President Donald Trump is one of them, but with a huge lead in polling and fundraising, he may skip it. Skylar Henry has more on the fundraising numbers, plus what the Biden campaign is keeping its eye on.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis criticized President Biden at the Christians United for Israel summit in Virginia on Monday.
Biden does not know what he's doing.
But if the Republican presidential candidate wants to take on Mr. Biden in the general election next year, he needs to focus first on former President Trump. New fundraising numbers match the polls, showing Trump with a major financial advantage over his GOP rivals. Trump raised $35 million from April to June, while DeSantis took in around $20 million. No one else brought in more than $8 million.
The great silent majority is rising like never before.
Trump still hasn't said whether he'll attend next month's debate, which could hinder any opponent's chances at landing any significant blows against him.
In this Republican primary, there is one lane to the nomination, and that lane is right through Donald Trump. He's at the head of it.
On the Democratic side, President Biden and the DNC reported a $72 million haul in the second quarter. So while money isn't an issue for the Democrats, they're closely watching the No Labels organization. The group, which bills itself as bipartisan, is pondering a third-party run, possibly led by Senator Joe Manchin, the moderate Democrat from West Virginia. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Sticking with national news, the Senate has gone on a confirmation spree this summer, appointing several new judges. They include a labor lawyer on the California federal court, a civil rights attorney on Brooklyn's federal court, and a reproductive rights lawyer on the Boston-based appeals court. These newly minted judges have progressive backgrounds to serve as a foil to the conservative direction the Supreme Court is now leaning. They also represent promises by President Joe Biden and Democrats to bring more diversity and varied professional experiences to the bench. The recent appointments came swiftly once Senator Dianne Feinstein returned to Washington, giving Democrats back the majority in the Senate.
A second Alzheimer's drug may be approved in the U.S. this year. Pharmaceutical manufacturer Eli Lilly says its new treatment, donanemab, helps slow the progression of the disease in patients in the early stages of illness by as much as 60%. but there were serious side effects in some cases, including brain swelling and brain bleeds. Eli Lilly says it's now seeking approval for its new drug from the Food and Drug Administration. According to the Alzheimer's Association, 6.7 million adults ages 65 and over in the U.S. have the disease.
Well, Hollywood's shutdown is intensifying as actors and writers strike for better wages and AI protection. NBC's Lindsay Reiser is in New York near the picket lines with what's at stake for the industry and for those on strike.
We are outside Rockefeller Plaza here, where this is day 2 of picketing after this strike now with SAG-AFTRA. The weekend proved no negotiations, no breakthroughs. And so people are still out here on strike. That means not participating in any productions, no premieres, even things like the San Diego Comic-Con on July 20th could be impacted if an agreement isn't made until then. So take a look at the people behind me. What are some of the sticking points? Well, they're working for a livable wage. This is what they're striking for. Also, concerns over AI and their likeness being used in perpetuity without permission and without compensation. And they're also concerned about the dwindling residuals since the advent of streaming. And so right now I'm being told there is no negotiation schedule, so it's unclear how long this is going to go for, but the people here tell me they are willing to go for as long as it takes. They have 160,000 members, and they tell me they have buy-in from 98% of the membership for this strike. Remember, they're on strike at the same time as the Writers Guild, and something that hasn't happened in 60 years. So this is a pivotal point here for the industry as we wait to see what agreement, if any, SAG-AFTRA is able to make with the studios.
College tuition is skyrocketing and the average wages are not keeping up. Gloria Pazmino has more on what's causing the sharp increases, plus what you can do about it.
Now, just to put all of this into context, let's talk about the numbers. Last year, the average American saved about $5,000. That means it would take 75 years to raise enough cash to send one child to a top-rated U.S. university.
Cal State University students are stressing out about a proposed increase in tuition.
It means I rarely can afford food and gas. I don't get financial aid.
It's part of a nationwide trend between 1980 and 2020. The average price of tuition, fees, room and board for an undergraduate degree increased by 169%. That's according to a report from the Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce. That rise far outpaces wage increases in the same time period.
It's really a problem that incomes are not rising more rapidly, not only because of college, but because of all of the other things that families and households need to buy.
So what's driving up the cost? Experts point to some key factors: increasing faculty salaries, increasing competition at top schools, and decreasing state funding.
So it's a perfect storm for families where the tuition has been growing, grant aid has been lowering, and they are being asked to make up the difference.
For anyone aiming to pursue higher education, Michelle Shepard with the Institute for College Access and Success suggests always looking at federal aid and scholarship programs first.
And then if you do need to turn to loans, which most students likely will, start with the federal student loan program and maximize the federal loan before you go outside of the program.
So before you start applying for private loans, it's really important to try and maximize your financial aid options. You might think that you might make too much money for financial aid, and while there are strict regulations for federal programs, you should still try and apply for institutional financial aid because universities and colleges get to determine the eligibility requirements for those programs. Reporting in New York, Gloria Pazmino. Back to you.
The defueling of 4 fuel-contaminated surge tanks begins today at Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. The Hawaii State Department of Health conditionally approved Joint Task Force Red Hill's plan to empty them. These are separate from the main Red Hill tanks. Approximately 480,000 gallons of fuel are expected to be removed. Defueling is set to last until July 30th.
A rally to stop animal cruelty was held here on Oahu over the weekend. It happened at Zablon Beach in Nanakuli. Organizers say the event was meant to raise awareness by being a voice for animals and taking a stand against abuse, cruelty, abandonment, and neglect. It comes after 3 recent deaths of dogs in Hawaii. One named Noah was found apparently starved to death, hanging from a bridge post on Kuwale Street in Waimanalo.
When we see stories like this, like Noah's or any other ones with animal cruelty, we have to be the one to bring it out to the public and make it known, so that way hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Hawaii has a strong affinity towards our four-legged animals, so they're also members of our household. So anytime a cruel act happens, I think folks truly are shaken up. But the severity of this incident has triggered a firestorm from our advocates and community members about how do we take care of these four-legged partners.
The community is offering a $5,000 reward for any tips leading to a suspect in the death of Noah. If you have any information, please call Crime Stoppers.
Well, the days of cheap inter-island prices could soon be coming to an end. According to some industry experts, the current trends show both Southwest and Hawaiian Airlines are reducing the amount of one-way tickets in the $40 range. Inter-island ticket prices were slashed when Southwest first set up shop in Hawaii in 2019.
So they've got to figure out a way to make money, and what they figured out is they can use lower fares to attract people into their systems, and then can leverage them up to a reasonable fare where they can at least make some money.
Travel experts believe in a year's time, the idea of a $40 one-way inter-island fare will be a thing of the past. In statements to H&N, both airlines said it could not comment on future airfares, but they are committed to offering competitive prices to their customers.
No!
Not the airfare. We love our cheap airfare,
We need to go home to Kauai.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. Hey, we want to tell you a quick bit, some news just into our newsroom out of Hawaii Island.
Yeah, new at noon, Hawaii Island police are renewing their request for information about an unsolved murder in Puna that happened back in July 2021. Now, police said the body of 76-year-old Michael Rosenbaum was discovered at the Mackenzie State Recreation Area on July 31st. Officials said he was found by a local fisherman on the cliffs below the beach park. Now, Rosenbaum had been reported missing on July 24th, and he was reportedly last seen alive 2 days before that in Pahua Town. An autopsy later concluded that Rosenbaum died from a gunshot wound. Police ask anyone with information to call them as soon as you can.
Let's go ahead now and take a live look outside. This is over Coconut Island there in Hilo, Hawaii. As you can see, some light clouds there, nothing too severe. Once again, the real rainmaker, the real weather story of the week will be happening likely on Wednesday as Tropical Storm Calvin moves in closer to the islands. This is a good time to get your hurricane kits ready just in case. Even though it's not a hurricane, you got to still be prepared. For now, let's go ahead and send it over to our Guy Hoggy with a look at your island forecast.
Tropical storm Calvin is expected to weaken just a little bit, but still be a tropical storm as it gets close to Hawaii Island. We're talking Tuesday night. That's when the rain's expected to come on. Remember, a flash flood watch is on. A flood watch is on for Maui County and for Hawaii Island starting tomorrow night all the way through Wednesday. The rain's going to increase on Wednesday morning for the rest of the state as well. Going to linger through Wednesday night. Wednesday is going to be the day with the most rain, although the rain's going to start in on Hawaii Island as early as tomorrow afternoon. And then by Thursday morning, things should start clearing up significantly statewide. So again, we've got a tropical storm watch on for Hawaii Island starting today for the next 48 hours. So the first alert weather day is on Wednesday. Drier conditions due back on Thursday. The weekend shaping up to be quite nice.
Thank you so much for that forecast, Guy. Time to go ahead and take a look at some news from the feeds. 2 famous and furry Las Vegas residents now have a new home in North Texas.
Right, so 2 lions and 3 leopards from the Siegfried and Roy Vegas shows are now living at a wildlife sanctuary in Wiley. Vince Sims has the story.
In Wiley, Texas, at the NSYNC Exotics Wildlife Rescue and Educational Center, big cats have always been the big draw for visitors. But now, some new cats are piquing folks' interest.
The new residents from Vegas.
Margie Bice of Garland was excited to see the new additions.
And they seem to be happy and settling in well, and so I'm really excited that I came out to see them.
2 lions and 3 leopards from the secret garden of Siegfried and Roy in Las Vegas were brought here back in May. This will now be their forever home.
They're my children.
NSYNC Exotics president Vicky Cahey says visitors may see them as celebrities, but for her,
to me, they are important as any of the other cats that we have.
Cahey says the special part is being chosen to care for them. She says her facility is known for its medical treatment.
We originally called for Mediva and Timba because Mediva has seizures. And we also have experience in seizures. We have a clinic on site, we have a vet on site, and the experience that we have, that's why they called us in the first place.
There are 75 other exotic cats already living here. Some were seized by law enforcement from serious situations. Cahey is passionate about caring for all the animals, but wishes her job wasn't needed.
If it's something that we're going to be forced to do because of irresponsible breeding and irresponsible ownership, if it's something that we're going to do, I'm going to love it, and I'm going to love them, and I'm going to give them everything that they deserve, and I'm going to make the most of what I can for them.
Emotional work she and the team will continue to do, giving them a life outside of show business.
Some truly incredible and very powerful and strong creatures there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look now at some good news. Last week, we told you about a 97-year-old who was getting fit for his birthday. Let's introduce you to another 97-year-old who celebrated her birthday with a special gift to herself.
While most people at an older age sometimes spend more time in the house or start to slow things down a bit, that couldn't be further from the truth for Marie Erickson.
Oh, I'm very independent.
Because at the age of 97, if you ask her what she does for fun, she'll tell you it's taking out her tractor.
I'm on that tractor every day, whether the grass needs cutting or not. I go around and check, and when I see it, I cut it.
Her home in Swansea sits on big, beautiful land, 2.5 acres to be exact.
The yard keeps me busy. I don't like to do housework.
But even before her husband passed away, the 4'8" firecracker always had a love of landscaping.
I had the push mower, but I was a younger girl. I could push that, but now forget it.
Something else she couldn't forget after seeing it was this power steering, top-of-the-line mower made by John Deere, which she now sits proudly upon.
I've always owned a John Deere. I like the John Deeres.
But getting on this throne of green took a little time. For more than a year, Marie began saving her money.
I kept counting it every month. I finally got to $5,000. I said, oh, great.
And for her 97th birthday, she decided to treat herself to the tractor.
I said, I think I'm worth it all these years, and I'm not going to take the money with me. I'm going to save it. I'm going to spend it.
In May, she took a trip to a dealership in Massachusetts.
And I got the amount, and I bought the tractor for cash.
Of course, some salespeople were a little curious as to what a woman her age wanted to do with a John Deere. So she explained that though she doesn't drive a car anymore, this was the next best thing.
I still got all my marbles, and it's the money I saved. I'm going to buy this tractor, and I did.
Ever since, she's been taking out her tractor for a daily dose of relaxation. And as she inches closer to age 100, Marie says it's been quite the ride, and that you're never too old to take out your toys.
Oh, yeah, I felt great.
Yes, definitely treat yourself there. We love that story so much. And now you know how to celebrate your 97th birthday. Go out and buy yourself a tractor. We're going to end today on a live look outside of Honolulu. Thank you all so much for tuning in right here to This Is Now.